This devastating and deeply emotional news has sent shockwaves through every corner of the world. Families are breaking down, friends are in disbelief, and fans are pouring out their pain online. From tearful messages on Instagram to candlelit vigils being shared on TikTok, the grief is everywhere. Social media timelines have turned into memorials. Hashtags are flooded with memories, prayers, and heartbreak. It's not just a loss, it's a global cry, a collective mourning that's reached across countries, cultures, and communities, leaving millions shattered and searching for answers. Before the ring, before the roar. He wasn't born a legend, he was built into one. Before there were bright lights, before the fans, before the roar of 93,000 people screaming Hulkamania, there was just Terry Bollea. A shy, guitar-playing kid growing up in Augusta, Georgia. He was Dr. later raised in Tampa, Florida. He didn't start out as a fighter. He wanted to be a rock star. A big kid with big dreams, more interested in bass strings than biceps. He was a dreamer, and in a world that constantly tried to shrink people down to size, Terry wanted to live larger. Then came wrestling. A chance encounter with Jack and Gerald Briscoe in the 1970s changed everything. They saw something in the tall, tan kid with massive arms and charisma. They introduced him to Hiro Matsuda, a trainer known for breaking egos. Matsuda broke Hogan's leg on the first day of training to see if he'd quit. He didn't.
Hulkamania is born!
He didn't just walk into the ring, he exploded into it. The late 70s saw him debut as Sterling Golden, but the real birth of a legend came in the early 80s when Vince McMahon Sr. saw the future in Terry and gave him a name that would define a generation: Hulk Hogan. In 1984, Hogan defeated the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden and became WWF champion. That wasn't just a title win, it was a cultural earthquake. I lifted my mungy in Britain. Also, he was the muscle-bound superhero kids prayed for, the red and yellow, the ripped shirts, the catchphrases. Train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. It wasn't just wrestling, it was a movement. Hulkamania wasn't a slogan, it was a religion. King of the world. There wasn't a person alive who didn't know his name. By the mid-80s, Hogan had taken over the world. He was the face of WrestleMania, the beating heart of WWF. Cartoons, lunchboxes, cereals, toys you couldn't walk into a store without seeing him. He was in Rocky III, standing toe-to-toe with Sylvester Stallone. He had his own movies, his own shows. He was the American dream in spandex. The peak? WrestleMania III, 1987. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Pontiac Silverdome. 93,173 screaming fans. When Hogan picked up the 520-pound Andre and slammed him to the mat, it wasn't just a move, it was a moment etched in time. A generation stood and screamed. The world believed in strength, loyalty, and heroes. With a personal 1940 years behind the rope, behind the smile. Fame is loud. Pain is quiet. Behind the cameras, Terry was unraveling. The schedule was brutal. Steroid use became common in the business, and Hogan, though initially denying it, would later admit he used them during the golden years. Fame had a cost. Friendships strained. His body broke down, and his marriage to Linda Hogan started cracking. He played the invincible hero on screen, but off it, the walls were closing in. Addictions, rumours, lawsuits. The image of the clean-cut hero was being chipped away by the reality of a man trying to keep the spotlight from going cold. To save himself, he had to destroy the myth. In 1996, Hogan shocked the world again. After years of playing the good guy, he turned heel, joined Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, formed the New World Order. The yellow and red were gone, replaced by black and white. The crowd booed, they cursed him, but they watched. Hogan became the villain, and ironically, in betrayal, he found resurrection. WCW surged in ratings. Hogan reinvented himself. He was older now, slower but smarter. The business had changed. He adapted. Still, time doesn't lose. You can't script real life. The 2000s weren't kind. Hogan Knows Best, a reality show with his family, gave the public a deeper look into his world. But fame is a double-edged sword. His son Nick's car crash, which left a friend permanently disabled, and the nasty divorce from Linda hit the headlines hard. Then the tape scandal. In 2015, a leaked video showed Hogan making racist remarks. The icon was instantly cancelled. WWE dropped him. Sponsors vanished. Fans burned merch. Hulkamania was gone. He went into hiding. He said he was ashamed, apologized. Some forgave, many didn't. The man who once told kids to believe in themselves now stood in front of the world, flawed, humbled, human. No more slams, just silence. Particular Pigs' waiter. Surgeries piled up. Knees, hips, back, dozens of operations. His body, once the symbol of strength, had become a roadmap of scars.
But even in pain, he kept showing up to events, smiling through it, trying to rebuild what fell.
He reunited with WWE in 2018, quietly, carefully. He was older, slower. But when the music hit and Real American played, people still stood up. He began speaking more about mortality, faith, redemption. He spent more time with his children, with fans, with the version of himself that existed before the fame took over. On a quiet morning in July 2025, the news broke. Hulk Hogan, dead at 71. The world stood still. Wrestling fans from Tokyo to Texas cried. WWE aired a tribute. Legends wept. Gen Z Googled his name. Millennials remember childhoods. Boomers felt the weight of nostalgia. Not because a wrestler died, but because something bigger did. A piece of America. A symbol of strength. A myth that had danced with both light and shadow. He wasn't perfect, but he was unforgettable. Hulk Hogan's legacy is complicated. To some, he's the man who defined their childhood. The hero who never gave up. The face of an era where wrestling was magic. To others, he's the flawed figure who fell from grace, whose mistakes hurt, and who tried, sometimes clumsily, to redeem himself. But in the end, the truth lives somewhere in the middle. He was bigger than life, but still human. He fell, but he tried to stand. And through it all, the world never looked away. Because when Hulk Hogan entered the ring, whether cheered or booed, you knew you were watching something iconic. Gone from the ring, never from memory. The sun rose quietly that morning, but the world of wrestling stood still. News anchors called it the end of an era. Wrestling blogs went black. Tributes poured in from every corner of the world. Athletes, entertainers, old rivals, and die-hard fans. From dusty basements in Philly, where kids once body slammed pillows, to stadiums in Tokyo, where the echoes of Hulkamania still lingered. In the air, the silence was deafening. 10 bells, that's how we say goodbye in wrestling. 10 slow, haunting chimes, each one echoing like a heartbeat, reminding us that even legends stop moving. They rang those bells for the macho man, for the ultimate warrior, for Dusty Rhodes. And now for the man who stood taller than them all, the man who carried the business on his back through booms, busts, scandals and glory. The bell didn't just toll for Hulk Hogan, it tolled for every kid who ever tore off a t-shirt in front of the mirror, for every little brother who screamed, "What you gonna do, brother?" while leaping from a couch. For the millions who believed, if only for a night, that good guys really could win. His funeral wasn't flashy, no pyro, no music, no championship belt on display, just family, a few close friends, quiet tears, and a folded bandana placed gently on the casket. Some fans lined the street outside the private ceremony, holding vintage action figures, old posters, replica belts. One man stood silently, holding a yellow tank top from 1985, faded, torn, but still powerful. He didn't say anything, just stood there, tears streaming. You didn't have to speak. Everyone felt it. And yet, even in death, Hogan's presence couldn't be silenced. WWE aired a full-week tribute. ESPN replayed his greatest matches. Actors, rappers, sports legends, they all paid homage. The Rock tweeted, "Without Hogan, there'd be no Rock, no me. He was the blueprint. Rest easy, brother." And in a world divided by so much, for a few brief days, everyone remembered something pure, something fun, something larger than life. But the truth is, this isn't a story about a wrestler who died. It's about what he meant while he was alive. Hulk Hogan wasn't just red and yellow. He was emotion. He was hope. He was a living cartoon that made us all feel like we could slam giants and come back from anything. He made us believe, not in him, but in ourselves. And that's what immortality really is. Not the muscles, not the wins, but the feeling you leave behind in the hearts of others. So now, as the curtain falls, the ring is empty, the boots are retired, the music fades. But somewhere, in the back of every fan's mind, in every arena that still echoes with the sound of a generation gone, you can still hear it. The glassy roar of a crowd, that entrance guitar riff, and the voice of a generation screaming, "Hulkamania lives forever. Rest in power, Terry Bollea. Rest in power, Hulk Hogan. You ran wild on this world, and we'll carry that energy with us, always." Hit that like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, stay safe out there. This is Gossip Reload, signing off.